Hello everyone, my name is Jimmy and welcome back to the last lap, and the Daytona 500 is here. Speed Weeks is officially upon us and we are going to be giving you our predictions for the Daytona 500 and talking about some news that's come out over the past week or so as well. But before we hop into it, just want to remind you guys to hit that subscribe button and that like button. It really does go a long way. It helps our channel grow. We are slowly but surely growing on social media, so any help we could get, we would appreciate it very much. And as always, I have my friend and co-host Matthew joining me on the show. And we just got done watching practice. We're recording this on Tuesday. We saw 2 practice sessions, saw the cars on track and all that kind of stuff. So how's it feel to finally be in Speed Weeks to kick off the official NASCAR 2022 season?
Well, it was great to see cars back on track. I know it was just a couple weeks ago we had the Clash, but those 2 weeks felt like forever, it felt like. So it's great to see them. It was interesting seeing all 42 cars out, 42 cars at least having some time on the track. And one of those entries is Greg Biffle, who it was like a last minute entry announcement that Greg Biffle is going to be the 42nd car in the 500, trying to qualify his way in for NY Racing 44. So there's going to be 6 open cars trying to make it in the 500, and 2 of those spots will be claimed on qualifying speeds, and then the other 2 spots are going to be whoever is best in the duels. So that means only 2 cars will be going home. So I can't wait to see how the rest of the week goes, and it's great to see him back on track.
Yeah, it was great to see all the cars on track, including those open cars. The number 54 car for Kaz Grala, that looked very good. That's a very bright and multiple colors. That car looks really good. So it was cool to see that car on track for the first time, as well as some other cars that we didn't see last week at the Clash. But so before we hop into the whole Daytona 500 and the duels and all that kind of stuff, we're going to talk about 2 pieces of news that came out earlier this week. The first one is that there was this thing called the Drivers Advisory Council. It was created by Jeff Burton. He's kind of like the founder of it, and Kyle Petty's even involved with it. But some other current drivers that are involved are Denny Hamlin, Kurt Busch, Joey Logano, Daniel Suarez, Corey LaJoie, 1 or 2 other drivers as well. And basically the goal for this is to the drivers want their voices heard in major decisions revolving around the sport. Like last year, we talked about how NASCAR decided to repave Atlanta and do the whole reconfiguration thing, and how veteran drivers like Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick were not on board with it. They were like, why are you doing this? We don't want this, all that kind of stuff. So basically this council was made so it's kind of more like a formal thing where drivers can come together and voice their opinions about certain issues that might come up in the sport, some different things NASCAR might want to try in the future, kind of like the LA Coliseum thing. If something like that happens, the Drivers Advisory Council, man, I don't know why it's hard for me to say that today, but the Drivers Advisory Council can, put their input into it. And Steve O'Donnell, I believe, responded and said that, it's good that this was formed and that they would be willing to cooperate with the Drivers Advisory Council and all that kind of stuff. So I think it's a good thing for this to be created, just so, the drivers in NASCAR are on the same page about a few things, especially with them talking about bringing tracks like North Wilkesboro back, Nashville Fairgrounds, all that kind of stuff. I think the Drivers Advisory Council would want to be heavily involved in what that would look like. So I think that's a great thing that was created, and hopefully it sticks around, because apparently there was one that was around a few years ago and it just kind of faded out. So hopefully this one stays around for a little bit longer. I think it's good that drivers like Jeff Burton and Kyle Petty are involved. So that's all I got to say about that. And the other piece of news is that Joe Gibbs Racing announced that Trevor Bayne is going to compete in some Xfinity Series races for them in the number 18 car. I believe it's 7 races, I think, something like that. So I think it's a great opportunity for him to get back involved in the sport. It's been a while since he's been involved. He was primarily at Ford for most of his career, so it's nice for him to get back involved in the Xfinity Series part-time with Joe Gibbs Racing and very good equipment. Expectations for me, I would think maybe 1 win, maybe. I think that would be a good goal for him. It's kind of like Ty Dillon doing it last year. Granted, he only had 2 or 3 starts last year, so I think a win would be a good goal for him to hopefully try and get that done, and maybe that could lead to a different opportunity in the future, whether it's a full-time Xfinity ride, another part-time Xfinity ride, a cup ride, or anything involved with the sport. If he's willing to take that step, I don't know if he's willing or looking for a full-time ride or not, so I think it's a great opportunity for him to get involved in the sport again and hopefully get some good finishes in that number 18 car in the Xfinity Series. So, Matthew, what do you have to say about this Drivers Advisory Council being created and the news about Trevor Bayne competing in the number 18 car in the Xfinity Series part-time?
Well, I think the first news, I thought it was a good idea, and I know the NBA has something similar like that, like the Players Association, something like that, and I feel like NASCAR needed something similar to that. Will it work on big decisions? I'm not sure. I mean, I guess we'll have to see when a big decision is announced in the future if they say, oh, the council had a say in this, or we didn't talk to them at all. If they didn't talk to them at all, then there's no need for it. But if they get a say in it, then I think it'll be a success. So that's my opinion. As for the Xfinity news, I was shocked to hear Trevor Bayne coming back for some racing. I thought he was retired basically after his little part-time run in the Truck Series in 2020, but it's great to see him back. This is the best equipment he's definitely had ever. Like, the best equipment close to that was like Roush equipment in the Xfinity Series. That was like it was getting near out of the prime Roush though, so this is definitely the best equipment he's gonna have. We'll see if he does good in it, if he does any good with it. And along with that news, Bob Hockress actually confirmed Ty Gibbs will be full time this season. They haven't formally announced it, but according to Bob Hockress, that's what he said, that Ty Gibbs will be full time this season in Xfinity in the 54 car. Which I thought that was interesting. I thought he would choose the 18 car. That's what he ran at ARCA, and why not? Why not stay with the 18? I guess not. But it'll be interesting to see how Gibbs is in the Xfinity Series this year with a 3-car operation. And another announcement with that 18 part-time car with Trevor Bayne, there's also Drew Dollar's going to get the Super Speedway races, which I'm praying for the field because I'm not a big fan of him at all. I mean, I saw him in KBM equipment last year. He was an absolute disaster. In the ARCA Series, he was an absolute wrecking ball, so I don't understand why we have to move him to the Xfinity Series. In the Super Speedways, nevertheless, when you know the big one's going to happen. So, I'm not a fan of that move, but it is what it is, sponsorship money, etc. But, well, yeah, I can't wait to see how Trevor Bayne does this season and with those few starts, and I can't wait to see if Ty Gibbs pulls out the championship this year.
Yeah, I was going to mention the thing about Drew Dollar as well, but I decided to not mention it, but you did, so yeah, Drew Dollar's going to be doing the Super Speedway races. I know Matthew, he sent that to me today and was like, no, why did they do that? I don't like him and all that kind of stuff, but
yeah, he cost Kyle Busch millions of dollars and tore up trucks last year. You kidding me?
Yeah, that'll. It's 4 races, so I think you're good. You don't have to worry about him tearing up too much equipment for Joe Gibbs Racing. It's Super Speedway races.
Tell that to the rest of the field when the big one starts.
Matthew he just does not like Drew Dollar, man. I don't know what Drew Dollar did to you.
It's basically Ryan Herbst 2.0 again. I'm sorry. That's what I just see right there.
So really quick, I just want to verify with you. There's 6. How many open cars are there? 6 or 8?
Yeah, 6.
6? Okay, I have them all, I think. Villeneuve, Haley, the 44.
Hey, Haley?
Haley's not an open car?
No. Both Colin cars have charters now. Okay, let me explain this. I've memorized this.
Matthew knows this stuff, so go ahead and tell the viewers.
Okay, so the 6 cars that are trying to qualify their way in the Daytona 500 are Noah Gragson, the 62 car, John Villeneuve in the 27 car, Timmy Hill in the 66 car, J.J. Yaley in the 55 car, Cascarella with the 50 car. And then lastly, which was just announced like yesterday or today, whatever day, it was Greg Biffle in the 44. So that makes 42 cars total and 6 open cars.
Okay, yeah, I think I got the 66 and the 31 mixed up. Okay, so I think what we're gonna do. So I believe how many cars advance? 4 cars advance, right?
Yeah, well, 2 of them will be in based on qualifying times, and then 2 of them will be in based on where they finish in the duels.
Okay, got it. So what we'll do, we're gonna save our actual picks for the Daytona 500. We're gonna save those because we're gonna be trying a new fantasy thing, and we're not completely set up on it yet. So that'll be kind of probably posted to our social media who our lineups are for that. But if you guys are interested in joining that, I will post the link down below. It's the official NASCAR fantasy thing. I created our own league for all that and all that kind of stuff. So that'll be linked down below if you guys want to join our fantasy league and have some fun with us. But I think what we're going to do is we're going to pick the 4 open cars we think they're going to advance. And then I think we'll pick our front row for the Daytona 500 for qualifying. So we'll do those 2 things, and then we'll call it a day. So I'll let you go first with your open predictions, which 4 cars you think will make it, and then your front row for the Daytona 500, so go ahead and go for it.
So you want me to do my 500 picks too while we're doing this?
Your front row, you're for qualifying. Do the front row.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, front row and the open cars.
Okay, so who's going to be on the front row with the 500? I'm obviously going to choose Hendrick cars because the Hendrick during Daytona qualifying always tries really hard to get the pole compared to Joe Gibbs and the other team. So I think Alex Bowman is going to get the pole because the last 4 times he's been on the front row, whether it was pole or second, I think Alex Bowman's going to be in the front row. And then who's going to be on the outside pole? I think it'll be Kyle Larson. And as for the open cars, so I'm going to go backwards here. I'm going to say the 2 that won't make it to the 500, and then list the ones that are making it. So the 2 that I think they're not going to make to the 500, I'm going to pick Jacques Villeneuve in the 27, and I really don't know, but I'm going to just put one of the NBM cars, either the 66 or 55 car. I can't decide both, but one of those 2 cars is going out. And the reason why I picked Villeneuve was because I know he's a really great all-around race car driver. Raced so many types of cars. But here's the thing, he's really old, and he hasn't been in the Cup Series in like 10 years, I think, or maybe a little bit less or a little bit more. It's been a long time, so he's gonna be rusty in these cars. So that's why I say that. And then I chose one of the NBM cars. I don't know if it's gonna be Hill or JJ Haley. So the 4 that are gonna be in, I picked Noah Gragson, one of the NBM cars, which will be either Hill or Yaley. I can't decide. And then I got Gralla, then I got Biffle.
Alright. So those are good picks, and for the front row, I'm going to agree with you that it will be a Hendrick Motorsports front row because they have, I think, like 7 out of 8, like out of the top 2 positions in the past 4 years, they've had 7 out of 8 of the top 2 positions or something like that, or a Hendrick Motor has had the top something, or I don't know.
I already know who you're gonna pick in the front row then.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick for the pole in the front for the second position. I'm just gonna say either or because either could happen. So my first pick for the front row is obviously gonna be Chase Elliott, just because he is a Hendrick driver and I think he could get it done. He did it back in 16. He got the pole in 2016. I'm not sure if he has another front row starting spot or not.
And 2017.
And 2017. Thank you. So I'll pick Chase Elliott as my first one, and I'm going to pick Alex Bowman as my second one, just because I want to see him continue that streak for 5 straight Daytona 500 starting on the front row. So those are going to be my 2 picks for the front row. As for the open cars, who do I think is going to advance? I do not think Jacques Villeneuve will advance either for pretty similar reasons you mentioned. He is just not too familiar with these NASCAR race cars. It's been like 10 years since he's driven one, and this is like a brand new car, and he's a little bit older, so I don't think Jacques Villeneuve is going to make it. And I'll throw a little bit of a Hail Mary kind of with my second one. I don't think Greg Biffle is going to make it. Just because he's with a
brand... talking about the Biff, man.
He's with a brand new team in NY Racing who I know nothing about. I know nothing about NY Racing. Who knows how good their equipment is. Greg Biffle, he's been out of the Cup Series for quite a while. This is a brand new car. Was barely in the Gen 6 car for a few years, so I'll pick Greg Biffle and Jacques Villeneuve for the two that I don't think are going to make it, but anything can happen. We could see Noah Gragson wreck out. We could see Kaz Grala wreck out. We could see anything happen in these dual races, and it all depends on, qualifying and which cars are in which duel and all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, I had to talk about this on the radio show I help with, and the dude was like, the guy that hosted it was like, so who are you gonna pick for the duels to win? And I'm like, well, you can't really do that until qualifying happens on Wednesday, so I can't really give you an answer, but I can tell you who to look out for. So I told him, like Denny Hamlin's really good, Joey Logano, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's going to wrap it up for our picks for the front row and for who is going to make it and not make it into the Daytona 500. Let's do this. Let's each give 3 drivers that we'll probably pick for our fantasy lineup, because I believe we get 5. We get 5 picks, and we get a pick in the quote-unquote garage as like a backup pick. So Matthew, just give me 2 or 3 drivers that you might put in your fantasy lineup for the Daytona 500.
3 drivers?
Yeah. And we could have the same ones too, because like it's based on points and all that kind of stuff. So, but I'll try to give some different ones than you give. But go ahead.
All right. So, for my 3. So, for the first pick, since Jimmy decided to use his Chase Elliott pick card at the Clash, I'm gonna use my card for the Daytona 500. Kyle Busch is gonna be, of course, my first pick. I'm gonna bet on it that he gets his first Daytona 500. I hope. But as for my second pick, I'm gonna put Brad Keselowski. I mean, he's with Roush, but we all know how great he is on super speedways. He has never won a Daytona 500 either, and I think Brad Keselowski has a great shot. And for my third pick, since it's a super speedway, I want to put an underdog on this one, because the underdogs always have a shot to win this race. We saw Michael McDowell last year. We saw it with Trevor Bayne in 2011. So who will be my underdog pick? I think I'll pick Justin Haley, because especially during the Xfinity Series, all 4 of his wins were at super speedways. I mean, technically he did win a super speedway, even though it was really rained out and he only led 1 lap, but it's still, I think it would be a great underdog story if Justin Haley won the Daytona 500. So that's gonna be my underdog pick, and so that's my 3 picks. Wow.
So I was actually thinking about Justin Haley. Like, I might actually put him in my actual fantasy lineup, because you only get to use a driver 10 times, and at these super speedways, you kind of want to use up those lower picks. But for me, my top 2 picks are going to be Denny Hamlin, obviously, because he's won 3 Daytona 500s. He won in 2019 and 2020 back-to-back, and then won quite a few years ago, all with this Gen 6 car. Yeah, he's become one of the best super speedway racers out there right now. So he's going to be one of my first picks I put in my fantasy lineup, and my second one is going to be another Ford, and that's going to be Joey Logano, because he has also been very good at these super speedway races. He was up front last year at the Daytona 500 before, him and his teammate at the time, Brad Keselowski, got together and wrecked and caused that big collision at the end of the race there. So I'll pick Joey Logano as one of my second drivers that I'm going to put in my fantasy lineup. And you kind of stole my sleeper pick there for who I might put in my fantasy lineup. So let me think. I think I'll go. I'll go with Bubba. Why not? I'll put him in there. He's been a pretty good super speedway racer. He ran at Talladega last year. He won there. So I think Bubba, and he was good at Daytona last year in the Daytona 500 as well. He was running really good in his dual races and all that kind of stuff. So I think Bubba's a solid sleeper option to put in your fantasy lineup as well. If you guys want to see our full fantasy lineups, stay tuned to our Instagram. We'll more than likely post our fantasy lineups on there once we complete them and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's it for Daytona 500 talk. Matthew, do you have anything else to add before we go ahead and wrap it up?
Not too much. Let's go racing, boys.
Yeah. Oh, we didn't do our... Well, and with this new thing, we can't really put Xfinity and truck drivers into this, so I might have to figure that out. But, yeah, the truck and Xfinity race, they're on there as well. But we won't do that this season. We'll just do our normal fantasy lineup. But we'll definitely recap the truck and Xfinity race for you guys. But, yeah, that's going to go ahead and wrap it up for this video, previewing the Daytona 500 for you guys. We're trying to get this video out a little bit earlier than usual, just because there's so much action on track. There's qualifying Wednesday, the duels Thursday, practice Friday and Saturday, and obviously the big race on Sunday. So I want to try to get this video out a little bit early for you guys, but that's going to go ahead and wrap it up. We hope you guys enjoy. Stay tuned to our social media throughout the week for updates through anything racing related for NASCAR. But until next time, we will see you guys in our next video.